Today I was shopping at my favorite store, the Dollar Tree, and I found this brand new item, and it's a pizza storage container. So it's something that we can recycle. We don't have to use Ziploc bags. We can use it for bread, snacks, almonds, meal prep. We can use it for all kinds of things. I also found these cover-ups that you put on top of your bowl. You know how our dishwasher eats all the lids and we don't know what happened to them when we pull out the empty container. Here's something that you can use and it's reusable. Hi, my name is Maureen and I'm here to share a memory with you. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe because this is so much fun for me to do. While I was at the Dollar Tree, I saw a beautiful red VW convertible that was old. It was maybe a 1960s vintage model. Well, that took me back to my first car that my father bought. I think it was for about $300. It was a stick shift car that I had no idea how to use. My dad didn't have the patience to get in the car with either my sister or myself to teach us, so I had to figure it out on my own. The beautiful thing about it is I didn't have to learn on my own. I had a cousin named Judy who would go in the car with me and experience every embarrassing moment you could possibly experience. My first car, it was a 67 bright red VW convertible. Picture it, it was vintage, stylish, and today it would be totally iconic. It was really cool. I mean, it was a really cool car. Full of rust. I grew up in Ohio, and that's when they used acid, and everybody had a rust bucket, or a beater without a heater, a better way to put it. I had a beater without a heater, but it was a car with great gas mileage. I think back then gas was maybe 50 cents a gallon. It was just wonderful, so we could drive it all over. There was no heat, and I mean none. And in the winter, we didn't drive. We just kind of survived, and it was wonderful. So I would pick up Judy as I was learning how to drive the car. By the grace of God, I was able to stick shift it over to her house, probably in first gear, because it was the only one I could do. Pick my cousin Judy up. Of course, at that moment, the car had stalled out, and so it'd probably take 10 minutes for us to get it started back again. And so Judy'd get in the car with me, and down the road we would go with constant neck jerking, because when you learn how to stick shift drive and you don't know what you're doing, you're having constant jerking action. We were at a light once and learning how to drive this car, and the windshield wipers were on, and it was cold, and maybe the water was hitting and everything was freezing up. Well, the windshield wipers got stuck, and I remember just pounding at the windshield, and Judy would help, and the windshield cracked, and I thought, oh great, now how am I going to tell my parents about this? Well, I told them, and I had to pay for the new windshield. I don't even know how much it cost back then, but I had to do it. I had to pay for it. Well, it was a great experience. So going back to the VW, before I got my VW, my parents let me learn how to drive through driver's ed with I think it was a Chevy Vega. It was a Vega. And I remember the very first day I got my driver's license, my dad told me I could take the car to my cousin's house, visit, and drive back home and nowhere else. Well, you don't tell somebody who just got their driver's license that they can just go from point A to point B. Judy and I ended up on a busy road just a couple miles from the house, and we're singing up a storm, probably America or Bread or the Doobie Brothers, I don't know, some 70s band. We're singing and just having a grand old time. Stopped at the light, turned, looked, the light was green, and I pressed the gas pedal. I rear-ended somebody. I remember his name to this day. It was Chris Coffey. I remember that. Got a ticket, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to go home and tell my parents what happened. But before I went home, I had to drop my cousin off. She only lived maybe a mile from us. I dropped Judy off at her house. Well, you dropped her off, made her roll out. I'm not sure, she had to jump out. Pulled up to her house, and I wouldn't stop the car. And she says, Maureen, you've got to stop the car. And I said, I can't, I've got to get home. She goes, how am I gonna get out? Stop the car. And I'm thinking, I am never going to be able to do this. She finally opened the car, and the car was rolling. I did not stop the car. She jumped out, she shut the door, she went in, and I had to go tell my parents. I got back home and I had to tell my parents what happened, and I'm sure I got grounded. So after that experience, there was no damage done to my car or the guy that I hit, but I got a ticket on my first day. It's just so nostalgic. And what makes it so nostalgic is seeing that VW red bug at the Dollar Tree parking lot, and then knowing that one of my best friends, her son is getting ready to get his driver's license. And I can't wait for the stories of her sharing, or of her son sharing with me, of his driving experience, because she has them too. She got her first car when she was 15. I don't think she ever got in an accident on day one of a driver's license receiving it, but I did. So I look forward to hearing my friend's son's story. This is just one of the many memories that I have to share with you. And I hope today you're able to go out and make a wonderful memory, or think back to a nostalgic time that you have and share it in your comments. Because if we don't share our history, and if we don't have these moments that we're able to share with somebody, who's going to remember them? One of the a great conversation starter for everybody, just a side note, a great conversation starter with people is always, if you're in a crowd, you say, hey, what's one of your top 5 embarrassing moments? And then people will sit there and stop. And boy, everybody's conversations just start to roll. And so what was once strangers, people can kind of come together and become friends. So I think that that's something wonderful. Also, get together with people and ask them what their most embarrassing moment was. Maybe one day I'll share some of mine. Everybody go out and make a memory today. Bye.